Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Have you ever needed to create a quick landing page for a project, an idea or a client, but you didn't want to get bogged down in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? What if you could build a tool that will generate those pages for you while using only Java?
Now, before we fire up our IDE and start coding, you're probably wondering why Vaadin Flow. If you are a Java developer who would rather not spend days wrestling with JavaScript frameworks, this is the part you're going to love. I mean, in simple terms, Vaadin Flow is the Java framework that lets you build modern web UIs entirely on the Java side. It handles all the browser communication for you, and it does it through a robust client server architecture, which means instead of you writing a REST API in Spring Boot and then a separate React or Vue application to talk to the Vaadin server. So what Vaadin will let you build is an entire application, front end and back end, as a single cohesive Java project. So what are the concrete advantages for us as Java developer using this tool? First, unmatched productivity. Second, component-based architecture. Third, type safety and tooling. I hope that by now you're convinced. So let's see it in action. Let's head over to start.vaadin.com and bootstrap our project. We have now opened the project in Eclipse. This is kind of like to-do apps, and as you can see on the right side, the application has been started already. We have our task list, and on the left side is the code inside the Eclipse IDE. So let's take a look around. This is a standard Maven project. We have our Java directory, resources, test, and all the automatically generated tests from the starter project in Vaadin. So we have our architecture test. We have a test application so that we can start Spring Boot in our unit test, and also test container configuration. So basically standard Spring Boot configuration for a brand new application. So now let's take a look into our Plum XML. As usual, so we have Spring Boot starter project. Now the version number of Java is 21, Vaadin is 24, Arch Unit 141, we're not going to use it. And we scroll down, we are using JPA to be able to store the task list, H2 database, and then we also have a couple of Spring Boot library, Actuator, DevTools. And we scroll down, what we have, yes, we have our test container dependency. Then Spring Boot build Maven artifact. Let's scroll down a little bit. This is Maven profile, JUnit 5. What else do we have? We've already seen H2. What else? So I'm going to try to, to comment out some of the dependencies that we're not going to use. Yeah, I don't like to use DevTool. We are going to just comment out that I don't like hot code to reload. I like hot code swapping, so I'm not going to use that. Test container, I'm also going to remove them. I'm also going to remove Arch Unit because this is not the focus of this tutorial right now. So I'm trying to remove some of the dependencies that we're not going to use because I do not want them to get loaded. Alright, What else do we have? So of course we are going to have some compiler errors due to the fact that we've moved these dependencies and yeah, so to just delete that file. The test container file might also cause some issue because we've removed the dependency to the test containers, and yeah, this file is empty, so therefore no compiler error, no need to delete it. Now, what else do we have? Let's switch view a little bit. Oh, you can see the hot code with load has been running, so the application was started in the background just because I was modifying the POM XML. I didn't restart the application, so yeah. Let's switch view a little bit. What do we have here? We have a bunch of packages, and as you can see, we have a component package, we have a view package, task management package, and that package is divided in different sub packages. We have domain, service, and views. So we have the task list view, and we also have a component package in which we do have this view toolbar. Let's reload our application so you can see we can try to match the Java classes to the UI that we are seeing on the right side. As this tutorial is not a to-do tutorial, we're going to remove this task list view from the navigation on the right side so that we can focus on creating our chat application, because that's the focus of this tutorial. Now, what I'm going to do now is to create my own view. So I'm gonna call it chat view. I think chat view is a good name, and it's gonna be a new Java class. It's going to have the same structure as this task list view, and I'll add its menu annotation so that you'll be able to see it appear on the right hand side of the navigation. So let's go ahead and create our new class. We are extending from main, as you have seen in the previous task list view. Was also extending from a main object. We're going to extend from the same object as well. Now we're adding a route so that we can navigate to this route in the web browser. So Vaadin Flow has internal routing component. Let us now add the page title. Let's call it chat. Now we're going to add our navigation menu. We're going to give it a name, something like LLM chat is also not bad. So we're giving it an order. Let's say position 1, an icon. We might choose Vaadin chat icon, and the title of the menu. This is what we're going to see on the right hand side or navigation. Let's call it chat or chat LLM or LLM chat. Now let's fix the import. Alright, so this is coming from Vaadin Flow component, as you can see at the line number 3. Now let's reload the application. As you can see on the right hand side, we do have our chat navigation, and when we click on it, you see on the right of the navigation, we have a blank space. So this is basically where we are trying to to implement our chat application. And we have taken advantage of what Vaadin is giving us out of the box in terms of default layout. So this is something that is good, especially with Vaadin, is that we can also style component the way we want it, right? So I've created this file chatstyle.css, and as you can see, it's located in a folder called default. So in this default folder, we have all the styles that are applied in our entire application. It means that Vaadin is actually really themable framework, right? So I'm going to import my own CSS style sheet into the default style sheet that Vaadin uses. Now let's see how we can modify the appearance of the Vaadin application in real time by just you know change our style sheets. Or we can, for instance, change background color. So here we're able to see where the main content of our application is actually being shown. We can change the background to black, red, and so we can have a clear understanding on how these different boxes are being rendered in our application, right? So now we're going to try to fill out the red space. As you can see, we have our navigation bar, we have our main content area, black, red, red, black. It's working. We might just go ahead and create the header, right? Or no, the chat area first. This is the best way we're going to, so it's basically the red area. In that area, what we're going to do is, let's pull out the Scully draw. So we have our box. On the left side, we have our navigation menus. On the right side, we will have an input box where we're going to enter the our prompt. Let's call it input field. And now, yeah, this is the input area. So we have two different boxes. So we have an input area, which is a wrapper area around the input field. So the input field is where we're going to enter our LLM message, and then we're going to divide the chat area in two. And on the left side, we're going to have our chat log. So this is where we're going to conversate with the LLM, and every chat segment is going to be an avatar and a chat box where the message is being written. So now let's get back to creating our chat area. What we're trying to do here is to we're going to copy some of the code from the toolbar. As you can see, the toolbar used to be so the toolbar has something called a drawer. So this is from the Vaadin layout, in which we can take some of the idea that were implemented in there to add that same drawer button to be able to close and open the navigation segment. Now that we have our drawer, what more can we do? Let me think for a second. We might just go ahead and enter and create a new box. Let's call it a div. A div as in HTML div. So this is one of the idea of Vaadin that I really love, because I'm creating my my HTML tree as a data structure. So now, what do I need? I have a class name that I call chat log, which is basically going to be used to style my conversation with the LLM. Then once we have created our box, we're going to add it to the main chat area. Now let's see where it's actually being shown. We're going to use background color for that. Let's give it red. It's not being shown now. Why is it not being shown? Because it's empty. So I've created an empty. And now what we can do is to have this div occupy the available place by setting its size to full. So this is a Vaadin function that you can use to to make a child element occupy all the available space. As you can see, our page has two components right now. We have this element drawer on the top, and we have the box on the bottom, which is yellow, and we've called it a chat log. This is what we are able to to pinpoint by changing its background color. So it's looking good right now. Our chat menu. We have a drawer LLM, and then the rest of the page is our chat log, right? So what more do we want? Now that we have our chat log, it will be good to add some more styling to our main content. So we might want to go ahead and use a grid layout. Why a grid layout? Because I think this is the best layout that's ever been created with CSS. Before the grid layout, I never really wanted to touch the CSS file, but now that we have a grid layout, I'm not scared of CSS anymore. I can use grid layout everywhere. This is the only layout that I use most of the time because it gets the job done very, very quick. So what do we have here? We're going to create a grid with 2 columns and maybe 2 rows. As you can see, on the first column we have a chat log, and the second column is going to be the preview for the pages that we try to build. How do you create a grid layout? Now we have the display, which is grid, and then define our column. And while you define your column, you have to give them some sizes. So we have 2 columns of equal size, and we have 2 rows also of equal size to begin with. Obviously, they're not going to have the equal size when you are done creating our component. Give them some gaps. And how do you want them to flow? You want them to flow row-wise. And now this is one of the most important thing about the grid layout, is that you can define the template area, and it turns out it's going to come out exactly like the way you define them. So what I'm defining here is the first row, which has a dot, which means this is something that I'm not interested in, the first column. And then the second column is going to be the chat log. And on the second row, the first column is also something I'm not interested in, and then the second column is what I'm calling the text area, right? So yeah, yes, there's a mistake here. Why do I have the chat log right next to the LLM? What if I change the grid template rows and I give them 3 columns? No, 3 rows. I'm giving them 3 rows. So what's going on here? My toolbar is showing next to my chat log, whereas I was expecting my chat log to be underneath my toolbar. Something seems not to be going right here. Let's check the columns. I have 2 columns and I have 3 rows. Oh, sadly, Eclipse support for CSS is weak. So let me bring up VS Code a little bit, because you can see this warning, yellow warning. Eclipse seems not to be. Oh, it's a mistake. Oh yeah, it's not grid template area. It's non-properties. Oh, areas with S. Alright. Yes, it's a shame that our Eclipse IDE doesn't know anything about the CSS grid layout, and here the Eclipse support is not really that great, which is really a shame, because I love using Eclipse, especially for Java, and it would have been very, very, very good to also have CSS support in Eclipse. So anyway, VS Code to the rescue. It's going on fine. We have our chat log here. What we're going to try to do is also to add a class name or CSS class to the view toolbar, so we can style the toolbar individually. So let's give it a class name. Let's call it toolbar. You can understand why in a few seconds. So once you've done that, you reload. Nothing's changed. Now let's go back to our style sheet. As you can see, our template area has, basically 6 different components. Right now, if we try to change the size of the different region of our template area, we might be able to know where which component is actually located. Now, we've given the class name toolbar to our view, to our toolbar view. So what we do next is to match the component that we've created in our Vaadin application with the grid template area that we've defined in our style sheet. So the component with the style class toolbar is going to be matched with the grid template area toolbar, and the component with the chat log as a class name. This is also what I'm going to match with the grid area chat log. As you can see, everything's fine. So I have my tree component, or my tree in 1, 2, 3, 3 rows. The first row is the LLM, the second row is the chat log, and the third row is the text area. It's still right now. I can modify the size. As you can see, what you see right here is that the component is in the middle. When you look at the line number 5, right, the component in the middle is 10 times bigger than the first one, so than the component in the first row. And if you look at column, I can try to modify the first column size, and what you're seeing right here is, it's what I'm saying is that the second column is 100 times or 1,000 times bigger than the first column. So this is how you can, mix and match the different sizes to be able to fit the different component in your grid template area the way you actually want them to be. And this is a very, very powerful feature that I love about the grid layout, right? So now everything's looking good. We have our grid area with 3 rows. The first row is the header. This is the LLM, the toolbar. The second area is the chat log. And the third component is our text area. So we've given the yellow color to our toolbar. Now we're going to go ahead and start to create the third component on our page. Now let's start with the text area. The text area is the one at the bottom. Let's rename it to input area. And this input area is going to be probably a text area or a div, maybe a div, or maybe an input field. Let me think. Let's put it in a div container first. So I'm going to create a component called div. Let's call it input layout. And then we're going to add a class name. For CSS reference, now that you have given him a class name, what else can we do? Let's just add it to the container tree. Now let's reload. Is it being shown? Not yet. Now let's create our input area. In that style sheet, we're going to refer to our template from our grid layout. Now you see we're giving the background black, so now we can really see where the input area is being rendered by changing the color of the background. With that being said, now let's go back. Now we have our container in which we're going to add some more element. Now the first thing we're going to do is to create another grid layout in the input area, because like I said, the grid layout is basically the best layout thing, framework, component. I don't know how to call it. It's so efficient and so easy to use that I use it everywhere. So what we're going to do here is to create a new grid layout into our input area. We're going to have, or we may want to have 3 columns and 2 rows. So here I'm creating my grid. It's a display. Of course, Eclipse is not really good at doing CSS, so I'm gonna go back to VS Code to do my layout. Now that I have my grid column, I'm going to add my grid template rows. So I have 3 columns and 2 rows. The first row is twice as big as the second one. Now let us define our grid template area. So what would I have? I will have a text area in the middle, and on the bottom I want to have, not bottom, but on the second row I would like to have something called tools. But what are tools? Well, you'll see what they are in a few minutes. Now that we have created our grid element, let's assign the text area to the text area class to the text area template that we've defined in our input area. Because we've defined, as you can see, grid template areas has 2 rows, and in 2 rows we have 3 columns, and the middle columns is called text area. So this is where we're going to create the text field where we're going to enter the user prompt. So now we've created div, we've given it a class name text area, and then we have added the text area to the input area. Since we've defined a background of black, you can see where we intend to add the input field. Now let's set the color to blue. So now that we have our text area div we may want to add our to add the real text area. So that's the reason why I'm going to rename this variable text area. So we're going to call it text area div. Now that we have our div container, we're going to create a real text area. This is a Vaadin representation of the HTML text area. We give it a placeholder name, and we may want to add. So let's add it to the container first, to the text area div. So you can see, this is the gray area. So let's change the background color so you can see that there's actually a text area in there, right? You can see you can even write inside the text area. So now let's set the background color from text area to red to be able to differentiate between the text area div and the rest of the page. So now that we have our div, now we might want to make it smaller by giving him specific size. Now if I put size full, as you can see, it's going to take the whole size of the containing text area div, right? So this is not exactly what we may want, but what you can do is to limit the size or the number of rows in which you are able to enter your text. So now I've set the max rows to 1. If I set it to 3, we may be able to enter 3 rows. So what else can we add? Let's create our toolbar. The toolbar is going to be the component underneath the text area. So it's going to be just a simple row where we're going to add the different tools that we may be using with our LLM. So what I'm doing here is that I'm creating a toolbox div element as a container for all our tools. I like to use div because I can style them the way I want. So now that I have my div, I'm going to define a class tools and then assign this class to my grid template area that I've called tools also, and then I'm going to give it a background color to see exactly where it's being rendered. As you can see, now we have our toolbar underneath the text area. Now let's adjust the size of the row. Let it be 1/10 of the text area width, and let's change the text area max row to 1 so that it looks a little bit better. Let's change the background color, or maybe no background color at all. So this is going to be a natural feel for text field. Now I'm going to give the yellow color to the toolbar to be able to highlight where it's actually being rendered and try to play with the different separation, the gap between all those components to see how I can connect them together. Padding, margin, all this different stuff, but we're going to come back later. Now let's start filling out the toolbar. Now I'm creating a button. This is going to be the icon with the globe wire icon from Vaadin, and I'm now going to go ahead and add the button to the toolbox div. So it's once I refresh the toolbox button that I've with the icon globe wire is going to be shown. Now let's add additional toolbox button to the toolbar. This time around I may want to choose a clipper or the picture icon to simulate the attachment. So if someone's trying to attach a file to my LLM chat, he may have to click on this button. Now that we have our second icon there, yeah, let's play a little bit with the size because I want both components to be next to each other. So let me change the max rows a little bit. I'm adding the rows and then adding the size. No, it's not good. Twice as big, not good. So I'll have to play with the margin and the padding later to be able to, to fix the gap that's between the input field and the toolbox div or the toolbar. So now let us add additional button. This time around I'm going to be adding a pay-per-click button, and this is going to be for attaching stuff like PDF document or Excel document, documents in general. As you recall, we had the picture button before that. It will be used to attach images. Now let's add another one. This one is going to be a paper plane. This is going to present the sending of the messages, and I may want to have the paper plane being shown on the right, and yeah, I'm looking for Flexbox attributes to be able to have the paper plane flow, to the far right of the row. I do know that there is an attribute for that, something called self-align. I'm not sure. Display flex. I'm choosing a flexbox for the tool because this is an horizontal layout, and I want to align the send button to the right. So I'm going to say align self, something like end, self end, flex end is the name. All right, flex end doesn't align, so I need to add some margin. And if I add margin left, doesn't work. Oh, I forgot to give it the class name. So yes, name the class name send button. Now if I set the margin between the button and the rest of its siblings, it's going to stretch to the right. That's exactly what I want. Margin left, let's play with the pixels. Actually I should use auto, yeah. Anyway, 200 pixels. Let's start with this one. Still good looking. Now our div area is shaping out to be something nice looking already. You may want to be searching for some nice looking color for our toolbar, our toolbox bar, or toolbox div. And yeah, let's play around with the color a little bit. So right now I'm looking for a good color to have my display area look a little bit better, So I'm going to be looking for some nice warm color. How about light green? Or I'm looking for light something, something that's not too strong, just a little bit light-hearted. Light blue maybe. Light blue might be something interesting. Yeah, I'm not using any color at all because I think Vaadin default color, they just look good by default. So now let's get down to some action. I am going now to be adding some action to the send button, so that every time I click on the button, I'll be sending. I want something to happen. And how do you do that in Vaadin? You just add a click listener to the button, right? It's that easy. So here, every time someone clicks on the button, I will be sending a message to the LLM, and I'm creating a function or a method, send message. What I'm trying to do here is every time someone clicks on the button, I will retrieve the content of the text area. And content of text area, this is going to be my prompt, so the user message. This is what I'm going to be sending to the LLM. So now that my text area is a local variable, I've moved it as a field to the page so that I can be able to refer to it from different methods. With that being said, every time someone clicks on the button, I'm going to retrieve the value of the text area, and if that value is null or it's empty, I'm not going to do anything. So I'll just return. But if the value is not null, I would want the value to be added to the chat log, right? So the things I'm going to do is I'm going to define another div that's going to be holding my user message in the chat log. So as you can see in the picture, I have an avatar, and then I have the bubble where the message is being written, but the avatar plus the bubble, this is what's going to be my user message div. So my user message div has two components, the avatar and the text bubble. So now I'm going to add a class name to my user message div that I'm going to be referring to in my style sheets file. Let me create my bubble. This is what I call it's a text bubble. Those text messages in your chat application. And my user message div, like I said, it has an avatar and the bubble, and I'm going to be adding the bubble as a component to my user message div. So my user message div is going to have two components, the bubble and the avatar. So now let's start with the bubble. I've just added the bubble to the user message div. Now I want the user message div to be added to the chat area, but the chat area is a local variable to my create chat area function. What I'm going to do, I'm going to extract that variable and make it a field to the component so that I can be able to add the user message div to the chat area. I'm going to be starting the application, and then we are going to be able to enter a text message in our text field, and as soon as we send the button or we click on the send button, we may see the user message being added to the chat area. So what's going on? So I've started the application. Now, as you can see, whatever I enter in my input field, if I press send button, is added to the user message div, and user message div is in the text, it's in the chat area. Now something I want to add is the clearing of the text area. As you can see, every time I send a message, I want the text area to be cleared. It's working. What's next? I want to be able to style my bubble. I want to give it, a form. Let's start with background color first to see, what, how it's being rendered. So right now it's just a rectangle. I'm going to be giving its border a radius. Let's play with the register. As you can see, we have two user diff messages, and by adjusting the its radius, you're able to to make it look different a bit. Now, playing with padding and margin is starting to take the shape of a real speech or speech bubble. How does I call it? Speech bubble? Text message bubble. Let's add some margin at the top and also at the bottom. When we have the margin, what else can we do? Let's change the background color to something that looks like a chat message. I think this light green is not that bad. Now, what happens if the text is too long? I would need to wrap. I want to add word wrap to the bubble so that if the text is too long, it goes to the next line. It's blending on the. It's going to depend on the size that we give to the div. So as you can see, yeah, it's not yet wrapping, so it just needs a size or a width, and it will be wrapping soon.
So now that we do have our user message showing, we just want to go ahead and add our AI message, which means that every time a user is going to click on the send button, the AI message is going to appear underneath. What I'm doing right now is I'm creating a div for my AI message. I'm giving a class name or different class names so that I'm able to style them in my style sheets file. As you can see right now, my AI message div is not showing, so my AI message div is going to have two components. So basically it's going to have the same structure as the user message div, which means it's going to have an avatar and an AI bubble message. The AI bubble is going to have to show the message coming from the LLM. So now what I'm doing is I'm using a Vaadin command or a Vaadin instruction that shows how to execute some command on the server side in the different threads without having to go into too much technical details. Just know that every time you're trying to update the UI by calling a function on the server side, this is usually what you may want to do. So now I'm going to create a message service. This message service is going to be the facade to the LLM, right? I'm creating it in Groovy. You can use Java if you want. It's just that I love Groovy because it makes everything clear and simple. Now that I've created the message service will have to return the AI response. The response is missing. The method is also missing. I'm going to go ahead and create this get response function. So the get response function has been generated. I may want to call the chat client. The chat client is the Spring chat client to be able to contact an LLM. Let's see in our POM whether we do have the Spring AI library in there. It seems that no, we don't have anything. Now let's go on the Spring AI website and look around and see what we can do. What else do we have? Now let's take the documentation. I'm looking at the Maven dependency. This is what I would like to have. What can I add? So this is the dependency that I need to choose. So okay, so I'm going to copy that. Now I have a Spring AI bomb inside my project. So as you can see, Maven is not able to resolve these dependencies. It looks like this dependency is not up to date anymore. So I'm just going to browse around and search for a project that that has the right dependency. This is the Spring AI project on GitHub. A lot of blog posts I was here already. Where can I find that? Maybe it's an issue in my Eclipse with the Maven resolver. I don't think so. Usually it should find it right away. Which project can I use? Let's see. Spring AI examples. Let's look around in the POM XML. Oh, they're already at version 1.0.1. Alright, so I'm going to take that version. It's fine. Now I'm going to choose an AI model with which I would like to work. Now this is Anthropic. I'm not really a fan of Anthropic. I'm using Llama. Yes. Llama 2 to the rescue for the rest of us poor people. Now, the libraries have been resolved. Let's go back into our message service. The chat client should be now able to be imported. As you can see, the chat client is there. We would like to initialize our message service by injecting a chat client builder as a parameter to the message service, because we will need the builder to, or we're going to use the builder to be able to create the chat client. Spring AI is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful AI framework. It's extremely well designed. You can tell Spring AI has been developed by some high-level software engineers. It's really, really, really good. I may want to use a safeguard advisor for this task, but I'm not really going to need them, so I'm removing it. Another type of advisors that are interesting is the chat memory advisor that allows you to send the whole conversation every time to the LLM. So I'm creating a chat memory by using the advisor builder, and then I am completing my chat client by coding a last build. Now, this is where Spring AI is really interesting. So this is where we are defining our system message. You are a nice person, and that only knows about, no, let's go. So you are a nice person, always be nice, and always reply with a smile, right? And now I enrich the call with the user prompt. I really love this builder, not builder, but this fluent API from Spring AI. I think it's really good. So now I stream the response back to message service. So what I get is a flux from the reactive library. My idea, or what I really think about the Flux API or the Reactor API, I think I may have to do another video with regard to that library. That library can be very good, but sometimes it's just too much, especially when you have to debug different things. Now, I will have to inject my message service through the Spring injection capability. So I will annotate my message service as a service so that Spring will be able to create my object graph. Now that I have my AI response as a stream of token, right? My AI response is a Flux. So now we are using the reactive API. So what I need is to subscribe to the stream of events or string coming to me, and I'm executing the update on the UI by using this UI.access function, which is the Vaadin way of updating the UI in a safe manner, because you might be calling this function from different threads, because a lot of things are happening on server side. And the good thing about it is it's completely transparent. I mean, we are doing something extremely complicated, but we are not aware of the level of sophistication that's going on. It just works. And this is why I love the way Vaadin meshes the client side and server side. If any one of you has ever heard of electric closure, yeah, this is like electric closure. It's really, really powerful system. Now let's go ahead and configure our AI model. Spring AI Llama is the one I'm using. The chat option would be to use Llama 2, Llama 3.2. I already have Llama running on my local machine, so I wouldn't need to do anything special to be able to get the first response from my local LLM. Now, what more do I have? I have my token coming in. I am adding the token to the AI bubble. I hope I have added the bubble to the AI message div, so now we might be able to see the first response. Drum please. Now, hi, what's happening? Let's wait for a second. Actually, I'm using a local LLM. Okay, something's wrong. What's going on? Push not enabled. Oh yeah, with adding when you want to push updates to the client, you have to use an annotation called push. It can be enabled automatically, or you can do manual push. So you can do push mode manual, so, which means we are going to explicitly tell Vaadin at specific part of our program to update the UI, or to push the changes to the UI. Now something is still missing here. Let me start the application. So now it's running. Let's try again. Let's say hi to the LLM again. Hi, what's going to happen? At least we do not have an error message. The LLM might be in think mode. Let's see if we have done everything correctly. Now let's set the breakpoint and see whether the code actually is being called. Let's call AI hi again. Yeah, it's actually getting there. And what's inside the token? Can you see what's inside the token? The AI bubble is there. The AI bubble is supposed to be getting the token. Have we added the AI bubble to the chat area? looks like we are doing the right thing, but the AI message div wasn't directly chattable. Alright, so now let's try again. Aha! Alright, so let's ask our model why he's giggling. Exactly, if you recall the user, the system message, we told the chat or the LLM to always answer with a smile. Now, as you can see, the LLM is responding with some markdown. The markdown is not being rendered in the default div, so I'm going to try to use the Vaadin component that's called markdown. I do know that Vaadin does have a markdown component. It seems like it's not available in the version of Vaadin that I'm using. It's only been available since version 24.app, so I'm going to change the version. And let's see whether the markdown library is in there or component is in there. Now let's try again. So now it should have the markdown being correctly rendered. Oh, okay, now we have to import the markdown first, and we're going to append the token to the markdown so that we can have this streaming input being appended and not replaced as it was before. Oh, so you can see now the big smart is being correctly rendered as a markdown. Now, can you show me an emoji? Alright, so the markdown is working. How cool is that? We have an LLM chat interface built with Vaadin, Spring Boot, and Spring AI. Isn't that cool? Now, this is only the first step. Let's do something cooler. What we're going to do next is to add an avatar, not only to the user message, but also to the AI message. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating an avatar. I am giving him some initials, right? So I'm calling it ME so that it can be shown as me in the avatar image. I'm choosing this color or the size of the avatar, which is a little more small, so I don't want a big circle showing up. And color index is 2. Now I'm adding the avatar to this horizontal layout. The horizontal layout is going to have my avatar and the bubble. And after that, I add horizontal layout to the user message div. Now when I refresh, and you can see every time I'm doing local change, I do not need to restart the application. So I am using hot code swapping. I think hot code swapping it's really the best thing we have in Java, and I do not lose my state. I always do a lot of things locally, and it's extremely fast when you're using Eclipse. That's the reason why I do not use IntelliJ anymore. Hot code swapping in Eclipse is just wonderful. So now let's create another avatar for the AI. Let's add the avatar to the second horizontal layout, and we will have the AI message with its own avatar, right? As you can see, I did not restart the application. I just reload, refresh, and then everything's there. Cool. Now let's do some CSS, some CSS tricks or CSS game. Let's do something that's quite interesting, is to have the bubble pointing towards the user. What I'm doing is that, okay, I'm calling in front of the bubble, I'm going to create a square, and some part of the square are going to be made transparent, so that in the end I will have a triangle pointing toward the avatar me. So I'm going to put a background so you can see actually what's going on there. Now I'm creating some shape with a 10 pixel border. Let's add a border color of black first so we can see what's going on. Right now we cannot really. Okay, so now you can see this rectangle there, right? Now let's adjust the position from the top 1 pixel, 2 pixel. I want to align this rectangle with my bubble. And now that the alignment is there, I am going to push it. No, it's too much. Now let's go back again. Correct. Now let's add some transparency to some of the sides of my rectangle. So I've added transparency to 3 sides of the shape. Now I'm moving the rest of the shape down a notch, down, and then right, down, top, right, yes, a little bit again, 1 pixel up, and then another pixel to the right, a little bit to the right again. So I have my bubble with my, see, isn't that cool? Yeah, sometimes I like to play these games to see to test my CSS full. So here, now margin from the top, I want to push the bubble a little bit down. Looks good. So now, how are you? You see? Okay, now something's missing. So if I'm asking the LLM for a message and it's thinking, the typing indicator. So now let's go ahead and create one. What I want to do here is to extract some of the things that we've done into a separate function. Let's call it user message or add user message. And I'm just trying to clear the space so that when we'll be adding more stuff, some of the things will be easily readable for you guys. So now that I have my user message extracted, I'm going to implement the typing indicator. Let's create the new function, show typing indicator. That function is going to create a couple of visual elements representing my typing indicator. First thing I'm going to do is to create a new parameter or new variable called typing. This is a div. It's going to be holding my indicators. Let's give it a class name. Let's call it typing indicator, because it's going to be the wrapper component around all these elements. Now I am going to create a typing container to be holding my my indicator component, and I need 3 dots. So I will create 3 div. So let's use the stream, how do you call it, stream library, stream function, stream whatever. So integer string range, I'm counting from 1 to 4. 4 is exclusive. So 1, 2, 3, I'm about to create 3 dots, and I'm giving each dot a class name called typing indicator dot. And once I have my dot, I will add it to the typing container, and the typing container is going to be added to the typing div. The typing div is going to be added to the chat area. But before that, I will create an avatar for the typing, because the act of typing is different from the end result coming from the AI. So while I'm waiting, I am creating a new avatar for the AI. So at the end, I'm adding the typing div to the chat area. So what's going to happen is that when the LLM is thinking, this is the avatar being shown. Now, this is not exactly what we want. When the AI is responding, now the typing avatar should disappear. And before the AI responds, the typing avatar should be shown. Now, let's style our typing avatar. The typing avatar is some wrapper around typing dots. Typing indicator dot is actually what it's called. Typing indicator dots. So now it's let's give it a width of 8 pixel, a height of 8 pixel, and now give it some border radius or background to see what's going on. So we have 3 dots there. Let's choose some gray color, some grayish color. Let's try this one. Gray, maybe. Yeah, maybe this one's is good. It's too light. I want something a bit darker. Yeah. AABBB. Yeah, maybe this one's okay. 99. Yeah, let's stick with this one. Now we need to make them a circle. Right now I am this percent. Now that they are round, so we have our typing indicator being shown. But this is not how we would like them to behave. Now I am going to add some animation. I'm creating an animation based on a keyframe. Now this is how you define a keyframe in CSS. So I've named this one KF typing, and I want the animation to be going at 0%, 60%, and 100%. And at each keyframe, what do I want? I want to translate my dot along the y-axis, so translate to 0. And at 30%, I want to translate it up a couple of pixels, let's say -5 pixels, or down, depending on which direction you're looking at. But usually the y-axis is looking down, so -5 pixels is going to be going up. So I have my different keyframes: 0, 30%, 60%, 100%, and right now they will be bouncing at the same time if we were to leave it that way. The animation should start with a delay of 1.5, and it should be infinite, which means it will always be animating. And what's missing now, it should ease in, so the way the animation is going to be. So this is the velocity of the animation. Eclipse is giving me trouble every time I'm working with CSS. Yeah, it's keyframes, it's not keyframe. I was wondering why is it that it's not working. All right. So it's keyframes. So now it's bouncing. You can see at 0%, 60%, 100% is bouncing. It's going to 0, and then at 30%, it's going minus 5%, minus 25, minus 5. Isn't it cool? Now what we want to have is to have them not bounce at the same time, right? So the first one would bounce maybe at a specific time, and then the second one maybe 1.5 seconds later. So yeah, let's play a little bit with the different keyframes to see how it affects the animation that we're trying to implement. Is in out. So yeah, the velocity of the animation. Now, what's missing is to have them animate at different time. To do that, I will trigger the animation of the specific of each specific dot separately. So the first dot is going to have an animation delay of 0 seconds. The second dot is going to start animating later, and the third one is going to be much later than the first one and the second one. So which means, all right, you see now they are animating at starting at different point in time. All right, now I want something a little bit fluid, so they're going to animate 0.51. I think it's a good compromise. No, this is not, it's fast. I would like them to animate like a snake, you see, and for that I need to have something like this. Let's try 0.4. Yeah, which is not bad. It's too fast. So anyway, we have a typing indicator. Now what's missing is to be able to remove the typing indicator when the AI message is being shown, and when the AI message is not there, we shouldn't be showing the AI avatar, right? So for that, we are going to be using a field name to record the state of the typing. So when we are getting our token push from the server, we're going to check whether the typing indicator is running, and if it's not running, if it's running, what we're going to do, we're going to remove the typing indicator from the chat area page, and then we are going to add the AI message in the chat area. And when the typing indicator is not there, we're going to create a new typing indicator, and this is what we are doing in the user message. So now what's missing? AI bubble that we want to scroll into view, because if the message, when the chat message is too long and the page is small, we want to be following all the messages coming in. So you see the typing indicator is working now. Ta-da! How cool is that? All done in Vaadin and in Java. No JavaScript, no npm build tool, no strange, type spec or whatever you call it in VS Code. Mind you, I've done a lot of TypeScript, I've done a lot of Angular, I've done a lot of JavaScript before, but really I just love Vaadin. That's it. And yeah, seems to be working. All right, typing ticket up there. Now let's have some fun. I want the LLM to be mad, but he cannot be mad because my user message or the system message told him to always be happy and smiling. So friend, I hope you're having some fun. You're not done yet. What we are going to do now is to go back to the drawing board. So we said we have a chat log on the left where we are showing our conversation with the AI, and on the right side we will have a preview of the landing page that we are trying to generate, right? So you have to divide the chat area space into two. The left side will have the conversation log, and the right side we have the preview area. And the preview area should be an iframe because we are going to be adding some HTML code from the LLM. Now let's create something called a split layout. Split layout is just Vaadin way of splitting a pane or a window into two parts, and the split layout has two components. On the right side, left side, I'll have my chat area, and on the right side I will have my iframe, and I add my split layout to the window. Now nothing is showing, not sure why. I do not even have to, yeah, maybe I need to restart the application. What's going on here? It's completely empty. I've added a new iframe on the right. So what happens? So my chat area is there, so I know it's there, but why is my iframe not showing? Now if I add the split layout back, so it's still not showing, the space is blank. I was supposed to split the available space into two different areas. What is missing? So if I add the chat area back, so I know the chat area is there, but the split layout is not there. What's going on? So let's give the split layout a CSS class name. Oh, okay, so it was there the whole time. Just needed some style. Yeah, to be visible. So now let's extract the iframe into a variable, maybe into a field, because we are going to be using this iframe from a different method, a different function. Now the iframe is here. In this create chat area method, I'm going to extract this as a field because it's going to be used in different part of the page. The shortcut is not working to be able to extract the iframe. Now I'm just going to copy and then add it on top as a field, and then initialize the field in this method. Now that we have our iframe going, let us initialize it at the decoration site. Now I'm going to restart the application, and I will be calling the iframe from inside my subscription. I am subscribing the response from the LLM, which is the flux, and I'm giving it a lambda function to be called from the server side, and I will be setting the content of the iframe based on the token coming from message service. Now, the content of the AI message, is a mix of some markdown and some text messages. So what I'm trying to do here is to be able to extract the HTML coming from the backend. And this is something that's really interesting because the token that I'm receiving, it has a weird structure, and trying to extract it, it's not going to be easy. But I'll try. Let's have some fun while we are at it. This is what we are here for, right? Let's have some fun. So now, first of all, let's observe what's coming back from the AI. So what I'm going to do is to print the tokens as they are coming in. So now, once I have the token here, I'll try to extract the HTML from it. But from now, I'm going to log it in the console. So let's restart the application and observe what's coming from the backend. As you can see, this is the streaming of the token. The question is, how am I supposed to extract my HTML from the token? Now, let us change the user message. Actually, the application that we're trying to build is a landing page generator. Now we are instructing the LLM that he is an expert at creating landing pages, and it will generate HTML for me, and I'm asking him, whenever you are generating this landing page, only return the HTML snippet. Why? Because it's going to make my job easier. I won't have to be extracting the HTML separately from the rest of the message. It's kind of working because it's giving me the markdown, as you can see, with the 3 backticks on the top. So it's giving me the markdown, the stream of tokens flowing in, and the iframe is getting updated. I mean, can you imagine doing it in React? Let's pause for a second. Imagine implementing this stuff in React. I am part of the no REST API movement. REST API is an anti-pattern, right? So here, no REST API, we are calling the backend right from the client side. No jumping around with Swagger UI and all this crazy stuff. I mean, it's the IT industry is just it's wild. It's crazy what's going on out there. But anyway, let's go back to having fun. Now I'm going to be trying to do a string replace by giving a regular expression to the partial response. What I'm trying to do here is to match the backticks that you see on the top of the right, and so I want to match the backticks and match the doc type so that I can recuperate the rest of the text. Now the rest of the text, sorry, is going to be wrapped in a regular expression reference that I'm going to use as a replacement into my replace all. Let's see whether it's going to work. It's probably not going to work because it's going to be matching from the start to the end. No, all right. Let's try it in the Groovy Web Console to see what's going on here. So let's say I am trying to match my 3 backticks followed by doc type. Oh yes, there's a new line between backticks and doc type. What's gonna happen? So I replace all. Let me take this expression and see what's going to happen if I change it there. Yeah, I have to escape the $sign. So the backtick is still there. Why? Because there's a new line. It's not matching. Star backticks. Okay, so it's matching. Backtick is gone, but it matches up to which ones? So actually it's matching everything if I remove the so what if I leave it that way? Yeah, it's going to be matching everything. Let's see what's going on, whether it's going to okay, I'm still returning the original token stream. So let's see what's going on. Funnily enough, the clean HTML still have the backticks. I think this exercise is going to be left for the viewers. So this is an exercise for you guys. Try to use a regular expression to clean a stream of markdown wrapped HTML. As you can see, the removal of the backtick seems to be working, but it's not working perfectly as I expect. Yeah, my regular expression foo is not the best, and now we have an issue. Now that I've removed the markdown, yeah, it's working. The markdown, the backtick is gone, so now we are having a simple website being generated. Now this website is very simple because we are using a small model. We are using the Llama 3.2, and once we switch to a more powerful model, the level of sophistication of the website being generated is going to be really high. So now I'm leaving this as an exercise for the viewer. I'm going to be returning the original message, which means we're going to be seeing the backticks again. So okay, for some reason Llama 3.2 seems to be returning. Have I saved? Actually, it shouldn't be cleaning the response. Still cleaned. Okay, anyway, now let's switch model and go to the big boys. I'm going to be using Mistral. Why Mistral? Well, I don't know. I just like Mistral, and I don't like Entropic. They are too expensive. I don't like OpenAI. They are too expensive. I'm a poor guy, from Africa, so I don't have money. But Mistral is also very, very capable AI model. So let's look at the configuration of the Mistral AI. Let me enter my AI key, API key, and let me switch the model from Mistral, from Olama to Mistral AI, and see what the result will be trying to generate a landing page by calling our Mistral AI model. Now that the model Mistral AI has been configured, you see this is how easy it is in Spring AI. I've just changed the model from Olama to Mistral, and I have entered my API key, and I didn't have to do anything else. Now see what's going to happen. What's going on? So generate the landing page, only return the HTML snippet. Now I want him to generate a beautiful, colorful landing page for a hair salon. Let's see what Mistral is going to be giving me back. Let's say small landing page. Okay, this is an issue with Mistral. Every second request is an error. I don't know why. Maybe it's a Spring AI error or Mistral error, but every second request is an error. I haven't had enough time to be looking into it, but Mistral seems to be the only model that's giving me these issues, which means if I ask a question, it's going to respond, and the next question is going to be too many request error, and the third one is going to work, etc. So it's a shame because I love Mistral. Anyway, let's move on. As you can see, the generated website is a little bit more sophisticated than the one I was getting from Olama or Llama 3.2. Now I'm asking him to generate a very beautiful landing page for a hair salon with smiling women, with okay, the use color should be warm, so I want a warm color, so something that looks like yellow or yellowish or orange or something like that. As always, I have to ask twice for Mistral to give me what I want. Now something is wrong with the scrolling. It's not scrolling into view as I would like. It's the scroll bar is not going, it's not scrolling down, so it's generating the token stream, but the scroll bar it's not moving. And I've asked him, so the user message div should be scrolling into view. Actually it should be the chat area or not. So let's put a buffer of 10 for the generated token. So this is kind of like an optimization to be able to allow the web browser to do some, to not be overflooded with token stream. So we are just sending token in bunch of 10 string. I think this is there's an error in the page because, so let's see what's going to come back from the LLM. So the colors chosen should be professional. So what's going on? Now there's an error, callback. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, now that I am buffering the token, so I'm sending every 10 token back to the client side. So the flux should be a flux of a list of string and not a flux of string. Funnily enough, Eclipse is able to compile, it's able to run even partially compile files, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know about you, but guys, I don't know why you are all running around claiming to be using IntelliJ. I've used IntelliJ for 10 years, but came back to Eclipse, and I think Eclipse knows Java very well. With that being said, let's fix this error. We are now receiving a list of string token, and once we get the tokens, we are joining them. Let's use the string.join methods. Now the AI bubble should be able to stream or to render an optimized version of the incoming stream. Now let's restart the application and see what's happening. So now you see it's a little bit faster now, because the web browser doesn't have to render for every token incoming, so it batches in 10 before it renders, which is nice. Now let's ask our LLM to generate a beautiful professional landing page. Let's see what's going to happen with smiling beautiful people. Let's say women. I want to see whether it's going to be able to show me some nice faces. Okay, now the stream is coming in. It's filling up quite nicely. It's still generating some messages around the templates. Now I'm asking him to only return the HTML message, HTML code. I do not want the rest of the talking, the conversation. Let's try again. As you can see, only the HTML is coming back, right? Now the page colors are different. So this is what for him is professional. So professional means something that tends to be black. Don't know about that, but I am not an LLM. Now let's fix the scrolling part. I would like the string as they are incoming to bring the page to scroll toward the bottom of the message div. So what I do now is to define a scroll options, and I want the scroll bar to align at the end of the scroll window. The view that I'm scrolling into is the user message view. Now let's see if I ask for new messages, what's gonna happen. As you can see, I need to send a message twice because Mistral, I don't know what's wrong with Mistral, but okay, scrolling still is not working because maybe I'm scrolling in the wrong window. I was scrolling in the div, in the message div. Now let's scroll from the bubble. Maybe I should be scrolling from the chat area. The incoming messages are being shown in the div. Let's put the scroll bar in the bubble and see what happens. Let's try again. So the scrolling behavior is going to be affecting the bubble this time, right? Now let's see what happens. You should also add testimonials with images of my clients, as well as a contact form at the end. Bam! Now let's see what happens. The scroll behavior is still not working because I am scrolling inside the bubble instead of scrolling inside the chat area, I guess. So actually it should be scrolling down, but it's not scrolling. Which window is supposed to be holding the scroll bar? I've defined the scroll bar. Where did I define the scroll bar? Maybe I should be scrolling the chat area, because this is where the overflow is defined. I would like a landing page with warm color. Let's see whether the scroll behavior is going to be working this time. As always, I have to ask Mistral twice. The scroll behavior this time, no, scrolling is not working. As you can see, as more text is coming in, the scroll bar is staying put, just becoming smaller, which means more text are coming in. Let's fix that. First of all, we need to find out where we have defined our overflow. Let's look into the inspector. Where should I be scrolling into my view? Or maybe I'm scrolling at the wrong place, because when the messages are coming in, I should be scrolling in the I should be scrolling where I am updating the AI message diff. Yes. Turns out I was scrolling at the wrong place and scrolling the wrong diff. Now let's try again. Now the scroll behavior should be activated when the messages are coming. As you can see, now it's working. You see, it's scrolling down as new tokens are coming in. So it's following the page, which is great, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? This is what I call productivity on another level, really. I mean, like I said, I have done React before, I have done Angular JS, and every time I have to create a new REST API, my heart starts beating, because it's an anti-pattern. In 2025, people shouldn't be creating REST API. I don't care. You shouldn't be creating REST API for stuff like this, really. Server client communications should be abstracted. I don't care whether it's stateful, stateless. Those are just really, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. You hear people complain about statelessness or statefulness of web application. It doesn't matter. So let's have some fun. So yeah, scrolling is working as it should. Now let's see the type of landing pages that can be generated. Isn't it beautiful? Spring AI, wonderful. Vaadin, wonderful. And add smiling faces in the landing page, and do not forget a call to action. It should be a very beautiful landing page with multiple sections and information about our hair or experts or expertise. Let's see what's going to come out. Scrolling is working fine. Now the page is being generated. Now we have different sections in the page, and scroll up. Now there's a section with our expertise. It's funny, this LLM stuff is really crazy. Really, it's yeah, it's fun. It's fun to play with LLMs.
Also, don't forget to comment and subscribe.